Okay, I want to take a look at this one problem right here, and then we'll go to the actual assignments. And here's what this says. It says a patio's length is 8 less than 3 times its width. Its area is 220 square feet. Approximate the dimensions of the garden. So there's the dimensions here. Okay, this is a rectangle. So rectangle is length times width equals area, but I'm going to make a parentheses for the length times a parentheses for the width equals my area, which I know is 220. Okay, and this is length, this is width. All right, now here, so you're gonna use this information in the first sentence. You're gonna write an equation up here out of it. Okay, length. The word is stands for equals, and then I'm going to put W over there, the width. Now we got 8 less. Less means subtraction, so I put minus 8. 3 times. Times means multiplication, meaning I will place the 3 in front of the W. And that is actually what I'm going to put in my L, because if L equals 3W minus 8, that's what I'm going to put in for my L. And then W can just be itself, W. So 3W minus 8 times W equals 220. Now multiply that out over here. So we need to take 3W times 1W. And we need to take negative 8 times 1W. So it's not really the FOIL method so much as it is the distributive property. So 3 times 1 is 3. W times W is W to the second power, and then negative 8 times 1 is negative 8W. So you can't combine these, so we'll just come over here and write 3W to the second minus 8W equals 220. Now I can solve for W. It has 2 solutions, so it is a quadratic equation. You also have W, so in addition to W to the second, you've also got regular W. So we have to have this equation equal 0 so I can try to factor one side of it. Okay, so I want my 0 right here, so I'm going to subtract 220. Now I can't subtract 220 from either the 3W squared or the 8W, so I put minus 220 after it. And now my new equation that has been rewritten is 3W to the second minus 8W minus 220 equals 0. Now we have a 3-term quadratic, so that means we're going to do our GCF. And then we are going to make our table. So GCF, 3, 8, and 220. Well, if they don't divide by 3, the GCF's just 1. And I know 8's not divisible by 3. Okay? Nor is 220, but it doesn't really matter at that point. So 1 is the GCF, so I would not want to do that. Okay, so I find the product of 3 and negative 220. Okay, I got negative 660. Now, if I get a value higher than 150, okay, I'm going to disregard the t-chart, quit trying to factor it, and go to my quadratic formula. So we have the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared, minus a 4, an a, and a c, divided by 2a. Okay, so we need to know what a, b, and c are actually equal. So a is 3, b is negative 8, and c is negative 220. Okay, so the opposite of negative 8 is 8. B itself, we just put negative 8 in. Then for A is going to be 3. C is going to be negative 220. Then the bottom A is going to be 3. Now 2 times 3 is 6. So I come outside here, I put my plus minus, because I know I have 8 in front of the plus minus. On the bottom we're going to have 6. Now we got to figure out what the square root is, okay? So the first thing I do is take negative 8 times itself. Negative 8 times negative 8, not times 2 times itself. That's what a second power is. It's 64. Then from there I subtract. I always start with subtraction because that's the sign we have inside the root, inside the discriminant. Now I take 4 times 3 times negative 220. And that's negative 2,640, okay? Now, if we're subtracting a negative, that goes to addition. And I will add those two, 64 plus 2640, and that gives me 2,704. Okay, now I find the square root of 2,704, and that's going to be 52. Okay, so I take 8 plus 52, click equals, divide by 6, and that is going to give me 10. So you can put 10 for an answer. And then I take 8 minus 52, click equals, divide by 6, and I get negative 7.33. Now 10 is the obvious answer, so that is my width. Now for my length, I go into this back here, up here. Length equals 8, 3w minus 8, okay? Now that we have our answer for w, we will replace the w with 10, and L is equal to 3 times 10 minus 8. So 3 times 10 minus 8 gives me 22. Okay, enough with that. There'll be more in intros now in the video, your assignment. What you have is a quadratic equation. This f parentheses x is just like having a y. Okay, if you want to put that there, it's just like having a y. You have to identify the vertex of this. That means the middle of the parabola. And then whether that vertex is a maximum or a minimum. And then you have to find the range of the function. Now we're going to start with the vertex. Now the vertex is very easy to calculate when given in this form. You look in your parentheses and you take the opposite of plus 2. Because you know how you always set that equal to 0? Well, then we just end up at negative 2. It's really just the opposite of plus 2. So negative 2 is my x. The value subtracted or added at the end of the problem is your y. It's going to be negative 6. Okay? Why don't you go plot that? So go left 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I got to decide if the parabola goes this way from the vertex or down this way. Now look at the number in front. Is it positive or negative? It's a 4, it's positive. So it opens upward, okay? Meaning this represents the minimum point because it's a low point. So put minimum. Now you need to find the range of the function, which also is very easy. The range is related to y, okay? So just look at your graph. This is the lowest the y ever gets. It goes upward from there. So where is that on the y-axis? So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So negative 6 is your cutoff number. It's your critical number. And from there you just go up so it's greater than or equal to. And those are the two things I want to see. I also want to see if it's a minimum or a maximum. Okay, the next one, vertex. What would the opposite of minus 3 be? It would be 3. And the number being added at the end is 2. Now go plot that point. Now from there we have a negative number in front. You didn't see a number there, so it's an implied 1, but it does have a negative, so this time it opens downward. That means this is a maximum point. Maximum. Now you need to identify your range. Again, your range is related to the y. So where is this point at on the y line, the up and down? It's up 2, so 2 is the critical number, and from there it goes down. So it's less than or equal to 2. That's all we're doing here. Okay, my next problem. Vertex. Remember, this thing here is just another way that they write y. I hate that, but that's sometimes what they have. Vertex, what's the opposite of minus 1? 1. What's the number being added at the end? 5. So 1, 5 is the vertex. The number in front is positive, okay, the 10, so it opens upward, meaning this point here is the minimum. It's the lowest it ever gets, so that's your minimum. Now the range is the y. So on the y-axis, how many squares up is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is your critical value. Since you go upward, it is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, next one. Vertex. What's the opposite of plus 9? Negative 9. The number at the end is negative 4. Okay. So I go left 9, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Down 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it's at the end, but that's okay. Now we have a negative in front, so it will open downward. Okay. That makes that a maximum. That is your highest point. And now I need to list what the range is. Remember, the domain's about the x, okay? I'm not asking for the domain. I'm asking for the range. That's the y, okay? So y. And vertically, you are down 1, 2, 3, 4, so negative 4. And from there, you go down, so it'll be less than or equal to. Pause the video right now and do problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now this one's a little bit more difficult. You have to take the parabola and you have to write an equation. What I have written here, and I'm not going to write on every problem, but on the first one I did, that's the base of how to write an equation for a parabola. It's like your template, okay? What you need to do is replace the A, the H, and the K, okay? Down here is where I want to see the answer, okay? So we have to figure out the A, which is incidentally the hardest part of the problem. You have to figure out what your leading coefficient is. Well, I need to replace all the rest of the variables in, the y, the x, the h, and the k. There was 4 of them we have to replace. I identify where my vertex is. That's left 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. And it's down 1, 2, 3, negative 3. That's actually your H and K, the vertex is. Now what you do is pick one of these points on the side. I usually pick that one. I label what that one is. That's left 2, so negative 2, and up 1, 1. Now you need to replace those numbers in for those given variables. So y is 1. A is what we're solving for, so I keep that. Then x is negative 2. Minus, because I see a minus there, h is negative 4. Now, if the h is negative, we're going to switch that simply to plus 4. If the h is not a negative, we keep it as minus. Close the parentheses and raise it to the second power, plus, and then find your k value, which is negative 3. Okay, now I'm going to be able to solve for A, but first I need to simplify this little power thing, okay? So first I take negative 2 plus 4. It's 2 for some of you those that are terrible with positives and negatives in your head. It's 2. Then you take the 2 times itself. 2 times 2 is 4. So this is 4 here now. So you got 1. Now it's a times 4. Remember, you got 4 out of this. So a times 4 is written as 4a and then plus negative 3. Now I simply add 3. 1 plus 3 is 4 equals 4a. Then divide by 4 and a equals 1. Okay? Now you've done the hard work. Now here's how you fill out your answer. Now your a you just found was 1. So put a 1. Then a parentheses, and the x goes back to being that variable x, okay? Minus the h. I don't want h in the answer. Remember, h was negative 4, so we switch it to plus 4. Close parentheses, raise it to the second power, then plus k. My k is negative 3. Okay, and that's the answer. So I need to see y and x down here. Okay, go with the next one. So again, down here I start my answer. Now you start off with your template. It is y equals a times the parentheses x minus h to the second power plus k. Again, write that. So we have to solve for a. So I got to know what the y, the x, the h, and the k are. All those have to come out for the time being. So my vertex is here. That's the middle of the parabola. It's 1, 2, 3. Then you're up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 5. And that's your h and k value. Always is. The vertex is always the hk. Now this other point's x and y. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And up 2. Okay, so the y, we're going to replace the y with 2. We're going to leave the a because that is what we're solving for. And then the x is going to be 7 minus the h. Now the h is positive, so I leave that minus 3 to the second power plus k. Well, what's k? K is 5. So first I need to figure out what that comes out of that. So 7 minus 3 is 4, and then I take 4 to the second power, which means 4 times 4, and that's 16. Okay, so I have 2 equals a times 16, which is written as 16a, and then plus 5. Then I subtract 5 from both sides. 2 minus 5 is negative 3 equals 16a. Then I divide by the 16 and divide by 16. Okay, now that's going to be a decimal. I don't want to see decimals. Okay, when you get a decimal, instead of divide, you go negative 3, ABC 16, see if it reduces, which it does not. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go with for my a value. So y equals a. A is negative 3/16. Then the x goes back to being x. Y and x should both be in this equation. Minus h. So it's going to be minus 3 to the second power plus k. K is 5. Okay, next problem. Y equals a, parentheses, x minus h to the second plus k. Okay, so with that being done, we go y equals, and I got to find my a value first, okay? So label your vertex, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, so it's 3. And you're down 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So this is my h, this is my k. Now pick one of your side points. It doesn't matter which one, you'll get the same answer for a regardless. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 1. So 6, negative 1. So the y is going to be negative 1. and then the a is what I'm solving for. Then x, or no, don't put x. You need all the other letters gone. 6 is your x. My h is 3, so it's 6 minus 3 to the second plus k, and k is negative 3. Okay, so we need to simplify that little power thing. 6 minus 3 is 3, and what's 3 to the second power? 3 times 3 is 9. So negative 1, so I'm going to put a little 9 there. So I have a times 9, which I write as 9a, not a9. And then add your negative 3. Okay, so you're going to add 3 to take that to 0. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2 equals 9a. Now I divide by 9. Remember, I do not want a decimal for my a value. That's a decimal. So I go 2abc9, which keeps it 2/9. So my a value now switches to its value 2/9 down here. And then I make the parentheses. And remember, I want the x written down there. Do not replace the x. The h and k you will replace. And then minus. Now go look at your h. You see 3. Close the parentheses and raise it to the second power. Plus the k, which is negative 3. Also, that could be written as minus 3. That's where I want to see the answer. Okay, last one. You're not using this bottom graph for anything. I just made it so you'd have workspace. Y equals, so remember a parabola. Y equals a, x minus h to the second plus k. Okay, so the vertex point. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're down 1, so negative 1. That's your HK. That's H, that's K. Now pick a side point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's X. 1, 2, 3, negative 4. That's your Y. Okay, so I'm solving for A, so every other letter has to be removed. So the Y is negative 4. And then the A is what I'm solving for. Then X is 7. Minus H is 4. Positive 4, so I keep it as a minus 4. It's when that H is a negative where it would switch to plus. To the second plus K. Well, what's K? K is negative 1. So I need to find what that, evaluate just the exponent. First I take 7 minus 4, which is 3. And 3 to the second power means 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay. So negative 4 equals A times 9 is 9A plus negative 1. Then we add 1 to both sides. It gives me negative 3 equals 9A. Now divide by 9. Now, negative 3 divided by 9 is a decimal, so I go negative 3 ABC9, so it will reduce it as a fraction, which is negative 1/3. So negative 1/3 is my A value. So replace your A with negative 1/3. In parentheses, we want the X to be in the equation. Okay, I need a Y and an X minus H. Well, I need to replace the H with what it is. It's 4. To the second power plus K. K is negative 1, so plus negative 1. There we have it.